We are live on your DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144. This is Joy News Prime, our headlines. MP for Ladade Kutupon rolls on the floor in tears as the minority tours the demolished and abandoned General Hospital, which was torn down to make way for a new one, but 2 years later, no work done. We have more as ranking member on the Health Committee accuses government of misapplying funds meant for the project.
I've used the money for another thing. As usual, you know this government. I'm very sure they can prove me wrong, and I want to be proven wrong. If indeed they have not misapplied the money, they should come to site and start the work, because I'm convinced in my mind that they've misapplied the money.
Minority in Parliament challenge claims by the Roads Minister that the state has not incurred any loss since the cessation of the road tolls.
In the approved budget, road tolls have been zero rated, so no money have been lost. But the minister announced the cessation of the collection of tolls on the day the budget was read. The budget was not approved on the same day, so surely there was about 25 to 30 days.
And Muslim community holds special national prayers for Ghana to mark the 65th independence anniversary.
Excellency the Vice President is respectfully asking for prayers for the President of the Republic.
At 8 p.m., I will hand over to Charles and Gary for Prime Business and Prime Sports. Charles, what's coming up in business?
The government has been urged to cut down expenditure, especially when the cedi continues to fall against major currencies.
I am expecting a statement like from the President or from Minister of Finance, trying to tell all ministries, whether ministers or civil servants, not to buy any new vehicle.
Gary will bring us sports at 8:30. Gary?
Yes, in sports, ahead of Ghana's World Cup playoff against Nigeria, former sports journalist and now politician Kwabena Agyapong has attributed the struggles of the Black Stars to over-reliance on foreign-based players, and also Nigeria have named a very strong squad.
This over-reliance on so-called foreign-based players who are no much better than the players we have in our country is wrong. We have to look back at home. Get the people of Ghana back again behind their national team when they see their own local players playing a major role in the national team. I think it's something that...
We are your home of independent, fearless, credible journalism. I am Blessed Sugan. Stay for details. Residents of La and its environs are lamenting no show on the La General Hospital more than 2 years after the sod was cut for the commencement of work on it. The existing facility, which served La and its environs, was demolished by government because it was in a dilapidated state and posed a risk to both patients and staff. But 2 years later, the site has been turned into a football field with no real work underway to construct a new hospital. This has led to agitations among residents who say government has failed to fulfill its promise. Speaking during a tour of the site by the Minority Caucus on the Health Committee, a resident, Reverend Ajay, described as devilish the abandonment of the project when the facility was torn down.
Not demolished, but destroyed.
What do you mean by destroyed, sir?
It was destroyed by the government. Yes, and it's affecting the people of these areas, La, Teshin, Wine also.
How's it affecting you people?
We are crowded in a small area inside Labadi called Latenu radio station area. And when you go there, the deplorable state in which the places and the pain and agony people are passing through to access health care is terrible, but people are happy with it.
I see. I mean, you are within this area. Have you?
I'm a native of La.
You're a native of La. That's fine. But then, have you been able to contact the government? Have you spoken to the health ministry? Have you spoken to your MP? What's been happening to this facility, sir?
Do you know? I don't know what is happening, but I've done some assessment and I realized that areas where this government have no, let me say, MP, they don't take things serious there. Yes, since La is in the hands of NDC, there's no way they will come and do this thing here.
So you think that it's a total neglect from the government?
Total neglect is political, highly political.
But the government is now procuring. I mean, you know, the economy it's on its wobbling legs, and they're now procuring funds.
Now
so
who caused it? Who caused the economy to be on its knees? Who caused it? Some time ago, somebody was ruling, and the whole of Ghana was shouting incompetence, incompetence. Now it is in local parlance we say emotional. We have given it to you, like praying draft. We have put it on your laps. Now pray the draft, and you have caused this mess. Who was to look at the land?
So was it prudent for government to have demolished this?
Devilish and demonic.
Meanwhile, ranking member of the Health Committee, Kwabena Mintah Akando, is accusing government of misapplying the funds meant for the project.
He's been following this project almost everywhere, including myself. And the processes through which any facility such as this will commence is that all feasibility studies must be done before even the agreement is submitted to Parliament. So after Parliament approve the agreement before sword cutting. So once you cut the sword, it means that the contractor is ready to commence the redevelopment of the project. All this while, anytime you engage the minister until his vetting, he will tell you, I mean, work is ongoing, work is ongoing. And in fact, as you all heard, when he was being vetted, he said it was nearing completion. You understand? And so, I don't know, they have absolutely no excuse because this structure was put down in the midst of COVID 2020 and we are in 2022. It's about 68 million pounds, 68 million euros for the reconstruction of La General Hospital. And you see, it sells the Nungwa, part of Nungwa, part of Teshi, in fact, Teshi in its entirety, the Osu, and then La itself. So it's at a very strategic position. And we are talking about the capital of Ghana. So, I don't know, the president must walk the talk. If a whole president walks here to cut the sword, and this is what we see 2 years down the lane, we do not know what to believe from the president. So we are calling on the president, because I think it has gone beyond the minister. And the minister has proven to the country, the whole Ghana, that he is incompetent. That probably they have used the money for another thing. As usual, you know this government. I'm very sure they can prove me wrong. And I want to be proven wrong. If indeed they have not misapplied the money, they should come to site and start the work. Because I'm convinced in my mind that they misapplied the money.
That's a strong allegation.
We have been joined by ranking member on Parliament's Health Committee, Kwabena Mintah Akando. But before that, Watch Member of Parliament for Dade Kotipon constituency, Rita Na Odolesoa, who has been crying amidst screams of "We are dying." And Kwabena Mintah Akando is joining us now. Honorable, what did you witness at the site today?
Okay, so today, myself and some members on the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health, especially on the minority side, paid a working visit to the La General Hospital site. And It was quite disheartening. And if you recall, there was a hospital, a general hospital at that particular site, which was taking care of the people of La, Osu, Nungwa, and Teshi. Unfortunately, that particular facility was demolished in somewhere 15th March 2020 to give way for another redevelopment of the same facility. So the agreement was brought to Parliament, and we approved the agreement, and then the President had to drive to the site to cut the sod. The sod was cut in August 2020, and so the work is expected to complete in 2022 August. I mean, before then, anytime you ask the minister responsible for health, he will tell you work is ongoing. Anytime you meet him and ask about La General Hospital, and in fact, if you pick the 2020 budget, 2021 budget, and the 2022 budget, they keep mentioning that particular facility in those budgets. So today, I don't know, when we went to the site, we saw the site was weedy. We saw one trip of sand. We saw one trip of gravels. And we saw strips of power board. That is what we saw at the site. And it doesn't give any indication whatsoever that the contractor is coming to site any moment from now. Because we are talking about a facility of a sum of about 68 million euros. And we are seeing one trip of sand and one trip of gravels. No blocks. We didn't see any solid blocks on site. And there's no indication. There's no indication. So I am wondering why, or the motivation behind the demolition of the already the existing structure then. You know, so I don't know.
And what's also your source of claim that government has actually misapplied the funds meant for the project?
You see, there are two. Okay, so let me explain to you. Now, when we approve a loan for any facility, and you are unable to draw down the loan, or you are unable to access the loan, what you do normally is to come back to Parliament to source for a different source, to go back and then continue or start the project. 2 years down the lane, I sit on the committee as the ranking member of the committee, and they have not come back with regard to that particular facility. So number one, if you have accessed the money since 2020 and you are not doing what is expected of you, even if you start today, what 68 million euros could buy in 2020, that money cannot buy today.
But is that evidence enough to suggest that the funds were misapplied?
So where is the money?
Okay, so now what are you going to do about the project as a caucus?
So you see, a lot of steps have been taken. Even the MP for that particular constituency has filed a lot of questions, and a lot of lies have been given as answers to those questions. Now, we have gone to the site to have first-hand information. We are still going to push it on the floor of the House, and we will go back until we will insist, we will follow this particular project until this project is commenced and completed. So we are not going to rely on our work at all.
And I'm just being curious a little bit. Will you invite the health minister to provide some updates and timelines?
In our next meeting, I can assure you, even if you have representatives around, in our next meeting with the minister responsible for health, we'll ask him questions with regards to La General Hospital.
I'm grateful, Kwabena Minta Akando, for joining us on Joy News Prime. Now, the minority in Parliament is challenging claims by the roads minister that the state has not incurred any loss since the cessation of the road tolls. According to the NDC MPs, that cannot be the case, as their investigations actually reveal that the country lost over 6 million Ghana cedis. The minister was in Parliament to answer an urgent question from the Adaklu Member of Parliament, Kwame Agboja. Listen to excerpts of what transpired in Parliament Friday.
Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways, what is the estimated loss of revenue till date due to the cessation of collection of tolls, bridge and road tolls, as contained
in the ministry's press release dated 17th November 2021.
Mr. Speaker, there are in total 38 toll stations across the country. There has been no loss of revenue to the Ministry of Roads and Highways since the cessation of the correction of road tolls. Mr. Speaker, after the presentation of the 2022 budget statement and economic policy of government by the Minister of Finance on 17th November 2020, most road users refused to pay road tolls at all the locations throughout the country. During that period, there was confusion between road users and the correctors. Mr. Speaker, in order to save lives and property at the toll locations, a directive was issued for the suspension of the correction of the tolls. Mr. Speaker, with the approval of the 2022 budget effectively, road tolls have been zero rated and there will be no revenue in 2022 for road tolls.
The minister and the ministry over the years have reported that the toll booth averagely gives about 78 million annually. 78 million averagely. They are able to collect about 78 million annually average. If you break this by 365 days, it gives you averagely a little over 200,000 a day. And between 18th November and 18th December, when the appropriation was passed, that's 30 days. Because when you multiply it, you have 6.4, averagely about 6.4 billion. Will the minister tell this House that the country lost an average of over 6 million Ghana cedis as a result of his cessation of the collection of toll over this period before the appropriation was passed?
But addressing the media, the ranking member on the Roads Committee, Gavin Kwame Aguja, said the minister's answers were unsatisfactory.
In the approved budget, road tolls have been zero rated, so no money have been lost. But friends of the media, you must understand that the minister announced the cessation of the collection of tolls on the day the budget was read. The budget was not approved on the same day. So surely there was about 25 to 30 days gap between the day the announcement was made and the day the budget was actually approved. Significantly, the NPP government pretended that the road toll, the e-levy was all about helping Ghana to stop borrowing, that we should be on our own, we should generate our own revenue and use it to do the things that we needed to do. Shockingly, in the minister's answer today, he let the cat out of the bag by saying that when we pay e-levy, the government was going to securitize and take bigger loans with the e-levy. In effect, e-levy would only give government the opportunity to do even bigger borrowing than they are doing now. So e-levy will not stop us from borrowing, because when you borrow, you must pay back. So I think this is very, very important. He also tried to rationalize by saying that the reason they suspended the collection of tolls was that the tolls were not bringing in enough revenue. My brothers and sisters, it's a fact that in the 2022 budget, road fund is supposed to generate at least 2 billion Ghana cedis. In 2021, the road tolls accrued over 78 million Ghana cedi. A government that we are told is broke, 78 million Ghana cedi could have paid at least NAPCO people. So it is not true to say that the 78 million Ghana cedi is not needed. We needed it. In any case, we are going to invest, they claim we are going to invest in, creating job for the youth, isn't it? No. We have other taxes that are being collected to do the same thing. Why haven't they stopped those ones? They talk about other things, including sports and other. We are paying all those things. So for the record, we just want you to be aware and convey this to the Ghanaian, that contrary to government comments, that e-levy is to give us independence from the Bretton Woods institutions, i.e., so that we stop borrowing. Today you've heard it yourself. Subsequently, he tried to wiggle himself out of it by saying it is possible. That was not the answer he gave me when I asked him a direct question. But knowing what he said was not going to sit well with the Ghanaian people, because he's exposed the government's real intention. The real intention is for government to get the e-levy passed and securitize it and take bigger loans. So generations beyond me, beyond the minister, beyond President Akufo-Addo will be saddled with debt.
However, the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has revealed that the decision to abolish toll collections at toll booths throughout the country have begun haunting the government. According to the minister, the failure of Parliament to pass the e-levy bill has made it difficult for the states to rake in the estimated revenue to help run the economy, and the government is already feeling the pinch of the abolishment of the toll levies. He was speaking at an e-levy town hall meeting in Ho.
Really is. You know, we passed the appropriation very quickly because there was an absolute belief in the direction that we're going. And then the politics came to stall the issue of the revenue measure, which is e-levy. And therefore, the issue of the tolls being disbanded, you know, have then become a chain.
The Wulugu SHS in the West Mamprosi municipality has been closed down following rioting this morning by the students. The students were said to have gone on a rampage destroying the school properties in protest of the lack of water and erratic electricity supply. The regional public relations officer of the Education Service, who confirmed the closure, said the students were asked to go home due to the security situation there. Joining us via phone now is Eliasu Tanko. He's our Northeast regional correspondent with the latest. Eliasu, what more can you tell us about this?
Well, as I speak to you, we understand the security has ensured that the students leave the campus, and they have successfully left. As I speak to you now, the students are no more in the school. It has been shut. We understand that that particular decision was taken this afternoon when the regional minister led a team to the school after the overnight riot by the students. And so I can confirm that indeed the school has been shut down. We don't know when it will be reopened, and where we are learning that the security is going to be around in the school until the time that authorities will take a decision to bring back the school, the children to the school.
And the initial reports we are learning of is about erratic power supply and then water. Do we know of any more concerns that led to this rioting on campus?
Well, what we are learning is that this particular situation, there have been simmering tension in the school. And that actually started somewhere last year when the students started complaining about lack of dormitory, as well as the quality of food that is being provided to them. And so we understand the riot yesterday actually was triggered by the headmaster's decision to remove, or his decision not to make available vehicle for the students for a SIF match, to attend a SIF match event in Wale Wale. They are preparing for the SIF match celebration, and we understand that the headmaster told the students that they don't have fuel to provide a vehicle for them to go for this particular exercise. And we also understand that the students also were protesting over lack of water. We understand there have been acute water shortage in the school, and so the students were protesting against this particular incident. We also understand that they are also protesting against they say that the quality of food being given to them, they are questioning the quality of food being given to them.
So these are the concerns. obviously those are the concerns of the students. Parents would obviously be worried about this development. What reaction are you getting from the parents as well?
Well, we understand the parents are asking their children to come home because this report, we understand, has been given to the parents already, especially the water situation as well as the food concerns by the students. And so we understand that some parents who are nearby provided means to bring their children home.
Region. The Muslim community on Friday held national prayers for Ghana as part of activities marking the country's 65th independence anniversary at the Central Mosque here in Accra. The Vice President, Mahmoud Bawumia, who attended the special Islamic prayer session, urged the country to continue to draw inspiration from its diversity to promote national cohesion. Addressing the congregants on behalf of the Vice President, National Coordinator for the Zongo and Inner Cities Development Secretariat, Ben Abdallah Banda, also requested for special prayers for the Vice President. Here are assets.
Before the Independence Day is ushered in and celebrated, there's a special adua that the president usually asks from imams and Muslims. And those special prayers are led by His Excellency the Vice President. And today is a special day that has been set aside for the special prayer. So His Excellency the Vice President is respectfully asking for prayers for the following people. The first prayer should go to the President of the Republic. His Excellency the Vice President is asking for peace for the Vice President, for the President. He's asking for protection for the President. The second prayer that His Excellency the Vice President is asking for also goes to Christians. The Vice President is saying that there should be cordiality, harmony, peace, and security between Muslims and Christians. And the last prayer that the Vice President is asking for also goes to Muslims and Zangus. We want peace in Zango, we want development in Zango, and the final prayer that I am asking for in my capacity as the coordinator for Zango, Muslims here assembled for a special prayer for the Vice President, so that whatever political intent that has much
and thanks for staying with us. This is Joy News Prime with me, Blessed Sugai, and still to come in showbiz, Atungo Zimba will tell us about the Upper East region. Spoken in the central region, it is one of the oldest dialects in Ghana, and yet many of its natives can't read, speak or write it. Natives of Senya Brekufie, theirs may be the last generation that will be able to speak Senya as the dialect continues to fade away. For the fourth of our series of stories celebrating Ghana Month, Joy News' Justice Beidou traveled to Senya Breku to find out more about the Senya dialect.
I'm pretty sure you know about this song, but if you ask anybody what is the meaning of this song, they don't know, and it looks like an Akan song, but it's a Senya song that means vulture. If you want to sleep, sleep. Sende diwa de de de, sende diwa. Sende diwa de de de, sende diwa de de de, sende diwa de de de, sende diwa, sende diwa de. If you want to sleep, sleep. Now this tells you that our culture as Guans has been dominated by Akans.
Abeku Okain is a pastor. He calls himself a man of the people. The people are the people of Senya Breku.
When I was a kid, somebody was teasing, I live at Malam. Somebody was teasing us, my uncles, my mom, that your language is not written, your language is not a language. I was in P6 then. I felt so bad and humiliated. So I had it in my mind that I have to see my language in print. I've had to read and write Senya, yes, chapter 2, Introduction to Senya Numerals, and we call it Nkare. So
he has spent his entire life trying to develop alphabets and numerals for the Senya language so young people can learn. Amma Awochiba lives in the seaside town of Senya Breku in the central region. She has lived here her entire life. Ajua, her little baby, is 4 years. Like herself, her husband speaks Senya language.
Our generation, we don't want to teach our children the language. We only teach them English. They speak only Chi and not Senya. So the children have been cut off, and it's an error to cut children away from their language.
The Senya language is on the brink. The people who are supposed to speak it are those in the areas like Kaswa and Senya Breku itself, just on the outskirts of southwestern Accra.
The Senya Breku language is an ancient language, very ancient. And when I say ancient, what I mean is that the people of Senya Breku are Guans. They are the aboriginals of this nation, Ghana. And we all know that the Guans were the first who settled here. Our language is closer, the Senya language is closer to Gonja, closer to Winneba, maybe closest to Winneba, and then Awutu, Latte, Shripon.
My dream is to have my child speak Senya. If in future she travels, I want her to go with our language. If she returns, she should be able to connect with her people. I don't want her to get lost.
Children like baby Ajua will be very lucky to still hear people speak the Senya language by the time they are adults. For many, like Abeku, this is a disaster they are working to avert. Justice Beidu, Joy News, Senya Breku.
Thanks for staying with us. Next is Joy News editorial with Araba Kumsin.
Thank you, Blessed. Now, let me start today's editorial with a personal story. I used to fill my 1.8-liter tank at 220 cedis. Yes, 220 cedis. Now, I spend 374 cedis. Fuel prices have increased, and these increases have made me apprehensive. Lately, I've had anxiety issues and palpitations because of fuel prices, not to mention the cedi, which has depreciated badly. The Ghana cedi is now the worst performing currency among Africa's top currencies. That is according to Bloomberg. Bloomberg pegs the depreciation of the cedi to the dollar at 8.86% between January 1, 2022 and February 25, 2022. So when crude oil price goes up, we feel it. And this is making many people nervous.
I'm from Alajo. I take car from Alajo, coming to Circle, going to police depot. Police headquarters. You see, it's too high. It's too high for me. Because look at my children, because I want to pay and then pay myself. Yeah, so it's too high.
People are crying over fuel prices and they're crying over food prices. Prices are up. LPG prices are up by 15%. Transportation prices are also up by 15%. So people are tightening their budgets daily. But, and it's not to be expected, or it is to be expected, government is very uncomfortable when the public hits them with the truth. And the truth is that Ghanaians are suffering. And remember, all this is happening at a time when government is also desperately trying to push through the unpopular e-levy, although it has received substantial public backlash. Now, against this background, we hear comments of people saying the current terrible economic climate is ripe for a coup.
Not want a coup in this country. Yet I feel that if we do not act quickly, we may have one in our hands very soon.
That may appear to be a solution to some, but we here at Joy News disagree vehemently. And I will come to that momentarily. But first, listen to these men, or this man, who participated in a coup and why it is never the option or solution to the prevailing economic difficulties. So listen with rapt attention, those of you who have never experienced a coup because you were not born or not in the country at the time it happened here in Ghana. Listen.
I think that it's a sad state if people are advocating for military overthrows of governments, because we've done it all and we'll always go back to the same state. So it's pointless.
Well, if that did not convince you, then let me break it down further for you. Why a coup should never be entertained as an option. Number one, a coup would mean the curtailing of many rights and personal liberties will be in jeopardy. I mean, think about it. Currently, many people feel there's a subtle culture of silence because when they criticize the government, they are most often victimized. Imagine if we cannot speak at all. At all. Imagine a country without MPs. It would mean that whoever is head of state would issue decrees without any opposition. Is that what we want? And number two, a coup will set our development back. There is no argument about that. There are several states that are still struggling to get back on their feet after going through uprisings and overthrows. Number three, our democracy. Sure, I mean, all around us, military takeovers are on the rise. Some have attributed that to the failure of democracy, but we must cherish our democracy. It's easy to take it for granted, but we must be proud of the fact that well, in spite of some disturbances, we still choose to go to the polls to change governments. You might ask, but Araba, have our leaders adequately tackled our social economic challenges? Of course not. We need to hold them to the fire and compel them to address our needs. Freedom of expression and personal liberties are great, but we must eat too. I'm sure you agree with me. So the government must urgently address the bread and butter issues of the people. But are they listening? Do they care enough? The consequences of not keeping promises and improving the living standards of the people is needless hardship. Mr. President, I know your job is a difficult one, but you are in power and you have a responsibility to make Ghanaians live better. So it's not asking much when we say, fulfill your part of the social contract.
And it's obviously the time to check out Showbiz. Becky is here.
Yeah, always here, always giving you the best in entertainment.
But I'm excited because we are in the Ghana month.
We're still here in the Ghana month, and we're still celebrating everything Ghanaian.
Right.
And this evening, I'm taking you to the Upper West region.
I'm excited about that.
It's actually Upper East region.
Upper East region.
Upper East region, where Atongo Zimba hails from. So he's been telling...
Atongo Zimba in heaven there.
There is no there. The polka classic.
We all love that
song. So he's been talking to my colleague Ibrahim Bembako about the unique things that you get or you see when you get to the Upper East region. Don't go
the Upper East, they can use their last food to serve a stranger. Hospitality? Yes. Their only food, their last food. You will not even notice. The first thing they will do is zonko. Okay. And they will entertain you with granite and zonko. And they will kill a chicken, roast it, come and put in front of you. That's a welcome face. Before they will even start greeting you, now they have to go and make TZ.
Okay, so they haven't greeted me, they will give me chicken.
That's why it's just welcome. You would think that they are very rich.
Yeah, you people must be very rich.
No, they are not. Sometimes some of them can even do their last meal for you. They don't care. because for them, the stranger is more important than everything. You must go home and speak good about them, not bad about them.
Wow, then it means every single family in the Upper East is an ambassador of the region.
Yes.
Because they make sure that you will go away with something.
The stranger will be certified.
So if you are coming to greet me, you prepare TZ. I'm interested.
So now when you come to visit me in the north, first thing when you arrive,
yes,
they will roast groundnut, they will kill a chicken. First they say, welcome, welcome. You sit down, no greetings yet. First they'll bring you food, you eat finish before now.
They come and ask you.
Then after they start to greet you, Pito and this one they come.
Okay.
Well, Atongo Zimba there.
Yeah.
So that's the unique thing about the Upper East region.
Yeah.
What's the unique thing about the Volta region? Where specifically are you coming from, Blessed?
So within the Ketu North area, I would say, well, it's our language and the people. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, ever doesn't come to you.
Special?
You know, ever has different accents, right? You don't have the same thing spoken.
Yeah, so there's the Anglo.
Right.
There's the Anglo. There's the you speak the Anglo, right?
Right. So you get a good feeling when you come across with that.
So where exactly? You said Ketu North, but I'm not too sure.
So Jojepenyi is where I come from. Right. So
Joje. Well, that's the unique thing about Blessed's place.
Yeah, the language outage.
It's time for Business with me, Charles Aite, on Prime Business. Of course, to our very first story, government has been urged to further cut its expenditure to immediately avert the sharp depreciation of the city.
I am expecting a statement like from the president or from Minister of Finance trying to tell all ministries, whether ministers or civil servants, not to buy any new vehicle.
Also coming up in this bulletin, Ghana backed a little over $2.84 billion in non-traditional exports in 2020, despite the impact of COVID on global trade. Plus, analysts call for a special audit of the annual budget funding amount from petroleum funds after 10 years of oil production in Ghana. We'll hear from the Public Interest and Accountability Committee.
The challenge with this is that how sustainable is this, looking at the volatile nature of petroleum revenue and the fact that we only have 3 producing fields now which are already hitting their peak.
Welcome to the bulletin. We kickstart with a look at how commodities have fared on the market. Tonight, economist Professor William Babwatson is pushing for more aggressive cuts in government expenditure to address the sharp depreciation of the city. The local currency had depreciated by more than 7% for the first 2 months of this year. There fears that the situation could worsen if tougher measures are not implemented to improve the fiscal economy. Speaking on PM Express, the business edition, Professor Babwatson said one of the surest ways to help restore investor confidence is to rationalize government expenditure.
I look at it from this way. I think it's to start from the fiscal part of it. Maybe somebody will say, well, the central bank needs to intervene. But how long can the central bank intervene? Will the central bank intervene and just deplete our reserves? That is an option that we may not want to go there. So I think it should start from the fiscal side. So if you look at our current expenditure components, we have our compensation, which takes about 56%, and then we also have our, the debt service, which is quite high, and then earmark funds. Now, in that case, if you have about 144% of your tax revenue into these three areas, then how do you go about it? I think the first thing to be done is government trying to demonstrate that they are committed. They know that there are challenges, and therefore government is committed to bring down the expenditure on their side. I am expecting a statement like from the president or from Minister of Finance trying to tell all ministries, whether ministers or civil servants, not to buy any new vehicle for any office holder. When you do that, it means you are doing two things. One, you are trying to reduce your expenditure, and two, the importation of these vehicles will also send signals to the public that you are committed to doing this. Then there are other things that government will need to look at, very tough measures. I mean, social intervention that the government rolled out since 2017 are very good. And I think it is high time government rethink about some of these social interventions and reserve some kind of money and reduce the pressure on the fiscal arm of economic management. And maybe it is difficult to mention free senior high. I think government need to review that and then maybe go the way that that used to be in terms of providing bursaries or support for the needy, while those who can afford will continue to pay. And in that case, government will be able to free out some resources for other areas.
Backed a little over $2.84 billion in non-traditional exports in 2020. That was despite the impact of COVID on global trade. According to the Ghana Exports Promotion Authority, this is a decline of 1.84% over the period of 2019. We have more in this report.
Coming at a time COVID-19 had hit the global economy, this could be described as relatively good. The non-traditional exports constituted 19.67% of total exports in 2020. The fall was due to a downward trend in the performance of the processed and semi-processed products, particularly cocoa butter and canned tuna. Total exports also fell steeply, relatively to a gentle fall in non-traditional exports during the period under review. Meanwhile, the top 10 leading products of the entire non-traditional sector, as well as the top 10 leading products of the processed, agricultural and arts and crafts subsectors, showed increases in performance. According to the Ghana Exports Promotion Authority, these positive growth figures associated with the sector relative to traditional sector exhibits buoyancy of the non-traditional exports sector. Over the last 5 years, Ghana's non-traditional exports grew at an annual average rate of 2.55%.
Well, let's now talk energy, because energy analysts in the 10-year assessment report of Ghana's petroleum production have called for a special audit, actually, of the country's annual budget funding amount drawn from the petroleum funds. According to the report, this will help to realign the use of the funds to improve its benefits to the citizens. We have more in this report. The management assessment by the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, the annual budget funding amount has lingering questions with regards to its impact on the general public. This follows several project tours at some funded projects which have been reported as non-existent or sometimes executed below standards and specification. The audit could also focus on sectoral allocations in line with requirements of the Petroleum Revenue Management Act (PRMA) and the Public Financial Management PFM Act. There is a strong imperative to provide the GRA and other institutions such as the Petroleum Commission and the Ministry of Finance with all the requisite human resources and tools to undertake their critical mandate of petroleum revenue management more effectively and efficiently. Meanwhile, the report found that the Bank of Ghana, the Auditor General, the Public Interest and Accountability Committee and the Petroleum Commission have demonstrated satisfactory progress in implementing the relevant provisions of the PRMA. On the other hand, the Ministry of Finance, Parliament, the Ghana Revenue Authority and the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation have demonstrated meaningful progress in implementing the relevant provisions of the law. Speaking earlier on the marketplace, the coordinator for the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, Isaac Dwamina, said the projects being funded by the ABFA will mean nothing if they are not self-sustainable.
Some impact has been made. US dollars of petroleum revenue. The returns on the investment, according to the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, has been quite significant, something in the region beyond $5 million. So then it means that eventually the investment will be able to pay for itself. If you look at the priority areas selected, agriculture modernization or agriculture which has received ABFA funding from 2011, the impact is difficult to measure it. Because if you look at, for example, 2014-15 thereabout, there was significant increase in the amount of ABFA allocated to the sector, but yet we were recording a negative growth in agri. And then also we had to import food as a country, even though so much was going into the agricultural sector. I mean, interactions with stakeholders have placed some compliment on the PSHS, which seems to have impacted quite a lot. But the challenge with it is that how sustainable it is still, looking at the volatile nature of the petroleum revenue and the fact that we only have 3 producing fields now which are already hitting their peak. So the report altogether arrived at the conclusion that the impact of ABFA over the period has not been significant, and it is the more reason for which the call is made that we should go back and look at the allocation and the implementation of the ABFA and derive some good lessons that will inform the administration of the ABFA into the future. Well, the future it's before us. The energy transition has come, and it is something that we can take advantage of. We can build our national oil company very strongly and reposition it in such a way that when the national oil companies have left our country, our territory, our national oil company will be able to come in strongly and then take advantage of the endowments that we have as a country. Then also there are rich lessons that we can learn from what we have done in the past 10 years.
Away from that, NIIT Open Labs has rolled out initiatives intended to provide solutions to basic human needs through robotics. Joy Business Beverly Brom was at the exhibition and has filed this report.
Some students of the NIIT Open Lab Ghana Technology have organized the 2nd edition of the robotics exhibition to display their new innovations. The students, after undergoing intensified training in information technology, created devices they believe will solve the problems of society. Interacting with Joy Business at the program, Oprah Santi and his team revealed that a visit to the Ghana Blind Union influenced their decision to produce electric walking sticks to support visually impaired individuals.
So as the person walks, right, keeps going, it detects that there's an object ahead. So if it moves this way, it doesn't detect any object, then the person can keep on moving. The rationale was based on our recent visit to the Ghana Blind Union. There we noticed the persons there found it difficult to move around with just the plain walking stick. So we met together as a team, my team members and I, we met together, we said we have to create something that might benefit provided the support is there.
The Tema Robotics Club built an electronic irrigation system designed to aid farming. Leader of the team, Mark Ahin, details how the system works.
And then we have here the smart farm, on irrigation, whereby when the soil is moist, meaning assume there's water in the soil, so it will not water. But the moment the soil gets dry, the water is done, or the amount of water is less, so it will water the farm for you. And the amount of water the soil takes depends on the plant. So this idea is when the soil is dry, it will water for you. So you don't have to come to the farm when you don't have to come.
Lead for NIIT Open Lab Ghana, Arunava Samar, said technology is meant to solve problems and his team is determined to build systems that will be affordable on the Ghanaian market.
The basic function of technology is to solve problem. Okay, so always if you compare the penetration of technology in terms of where it is being used, so there will be always a parity. There will be always a difference. Okay, if you compare what Ghana is doing in terms of technology, you cannot compare it with some maybe let's say Europe, because the things are available there more. Okay, so let's say if you think of like our automated car wash solution, that solution may not be here, but it's a solution that can be built. So the problem here is that the accessibility to those resources. So what our students can do is build these solutions with cheaper resources and cheaper things so that it can be affordable to places here.
Open Labs, formerly NIIT Ghana, is an institution that trains students in terms of technology, software, hardware and networking with the aim to build digital workforce for Ghana.
Well, technology has today become a strategic tool in growing economies and their populations. To this end, many educational institutions have incorporated robotics and coding in the training of young children. One of such schools is the Dominion Christian Academy. There is more in this report.
Using technology to teach kids has become the tactic for some leading educational establishments in the country. This is because they want to groom graduates of tomorrow who are innovative and can build machines for socio-economic development. Here's director of the Dominion Christian Academy, who doubles as head of legal at Action Chapel International, Bishop Dr. Suzanne Inti.
At Dominion Christian Academy, we want to train children so that they are globally minded, they are internationally minded. They are aware of the environment and they make a difference in terms of how they think and what they believe they can do. So inventions and technology is so key. With the fourth industrial revolution, we needed to make sure that our children understand the importance of technology and artificial intelligence, because that's the way the globe is moving.
Dr. Thomas Mensah, a member of the advisory board of the Fourth Industrial Revolution of South Africa, a Ghanaian-American chemical engineer and inventor who contributed to the development of fiber optics and nanotechnology, told Joy Business that the nation should groom critical thinkers to invent and facilitate the development of the economy.
Now, one of the most strategic things that Bishop Sue did was invite me and put me on the advisory board of the Dominion Christian Academy. And so our goal is to bring practical things to this school, to bring things that will make them part of the fourth industrial revolution. I'm part of the advisory board of the fourth industrial revolution in South Africa. I do a Zoom call every week there. And so we want to create an environment where students that come from Dominion Christian Academy.
Dominion Christian Academy operates the American and Cambridge education system in Ghana with rigorous training in technology and neuroscience.
You're still watching Business Prime Business with me, Charles Aite. We're now having to take a focus on development internationally when it comes to business news. And the business bulletin continues. Now to other stories. The Tema Regional Electricity Company of Ghana is in its vigilance has retrieved 6.2 million cedis of power theft in 2021. The region last year doubled its efforts in recovering every pesewa to help reduce commercial losses and improve revenue collection of the company. In an interview with Joy Business in Tema, the general manager of the Tema region, Engineer Emmanuel Akini, says a number of customers were apprehended last year. Correspondent Kwame Yanka has more.
Of the Electricity Company of Ghana has over the year descended on recalcitrant customers who are bent on using electricity illegally by recovering millions of cedis from them through a special arrangement. The region, with its various districts, has monitoring teams on the field consistently uncovering such illegalities. Once these infractions are uncovered, the Revenue Protection Team takes these persons on. General Manager of the Tema region, Engineer Emmanuel Akini, tells Joy Business the company billed over 6.2 million cedis of power theft in 2021.
Yeah, last year we were able to apprehend a lot of customers who were involved in illegal connection activities, and an amount of about 6.2 million cedis was billed to all those customers. Yeah, definitely they are supposed to pay the full amount, but some of them are paying by installment based on some agreements we've gone with them. So yes, we've been able to collect quite a huge chunk of it, and we expect the rest to finish paying before the end of June this year.
There are also instances where individual customers or companies involved are handed over to the police as part of the investigative process. Meanwhile, Engineer Emmanuel Akini says 3 customers are being investigated by the police for illegal connection in 2021.
But first of all, it is wrong to steal power. That is one thing. And then 2, what we have also done is that anybody who reports somebody who has carried out any illegal connection get something out of the money that we'll recover from the illegality. So we are encouraging people to report those who are involved in illegal connection. Once we are able to detect that there's an illegality involved, you will be entitled to some percentage of the amount that we bill.
With ECG introducing monthly campaign against power thefts last year to bolster existing measures, the region believes illegal activities of customers will not go unnoticed. Kwame Yanke's reports for Joy Business.
Now, some traders are lamenting the impact of increased fuel prices on the capital. Engaging traders at Makola, my colleague Emma Davis finds that prices of foodstuff are through the roof. We have more in today's episode of Joy Business Shopping List.
It's a sunny day at Kwasi Ejaso in Accra, and I'm here to get a few food stuff. If you're looking forward to your weekend, come with me as we gauge the prices.
This is 5 cedi. This and this is 20 cedi, and this is 12 cedi. This is 10 cedis. The full one is 40 cedis.
Is this how you've been pricing it since, or there has been an increase?
Since.
Why is your price always constant?
Because if you change the prices, no one will buy it from you.
This one is 3 cedi. From tomorrow going, I will sell this one 4 cedi. This one 10 cedi. This one 5 cedi. This one 7 cedi. 7 cedi. I give 3 for 20 instead of 21.
But why will you increase your price from tomorrow?
Government increase the fuel prices. So I will increase my willy.
My bono 10 cedi. They make a crown 5 cedi. My born 20 Ghana. My son born 30 Ghana.
The end of 5 cedi. And the teacher 10 cedi. And now loan can so 25. And they 20. And now rubber so 35. And did 30.
For 1 cedi, obi to dia, obi ye biapi ton, obi down to alcoton. This autumn has seen it. If it's something to come papa say for 1 cedi. Season food. And no there season crop. And no there woman na bapoto. So she salary fair ninti. So oti no the baba na lori fair ni be gini sika ni bedu obeja wo ho. Ana bebi obedu bi obeton wo ho. On fan ba kra.
The demand 25. When so 7 cedi, me demand 5. So be back na ento ade me demand when so 10, 15.
Medima 5 cedi. Medima Mesa 10 cedi. We so 2 cedi. Medima Mesa 5 cedi. Anyone 1 cedi there and so 3 Medima 2 cedi. And buy them. Just say I'm the animal bebre. Has bottle soup. Where are money? We don't carry a sister Ghana. Imagine 15. I lose 100. Yeah, you imagine me 15. Kako 1 cedi. I don't know but I need 20. Half 10 cedi. Where 40. Where 20. Imagine 10 cedi. My money 1 cedi, 2 cedi. Go be me 5. And I'm about 2 cedi. And 2 cedi. And I'm about 7 cedi. You about 5 cedi. And I'm about 15.
1.5 liters near 15 cedis. 750 near 7 cedi 50 pesos. We near 5 cedis. And I'm kitchen near 3 cedis. Gallon no can see near 45. And medium near 23.
We say we are 40. First nanka 30. For 25, about 30. Is 40. We say we are 30. Munto. But tomorrow we are 30. A brolon got 12 cedi. We are 3 cedi. 15 cedi Solonka. Back.
Make of the food prices now. I'm not too much how wake. Ni woba ska boni wake ba je na kan craji boni woba na e woba wake more than the previous one wake na kan ji boni eba e wobi ane wake je old one ni don shi bi ane an increase ni bi anu chon ha wo e wo won kwa government fa ni eba me how feel because it's too much.
And that's it for the bulletin, but we'll leave you with Money Lab, after which we have sports with Gary L. Smith. To stay with us.
Today we will look at the factors which affect the prices of stocks. The economic factors generally. With the economic factors, the economic outlook of an investor can influence the prices that they would offer for shares. All things being equal, if investors consider the prospects of an economy where a company operates as positive in the long run, they are likely to increase their bid in terms of the price for a stock. Otherwise, they would offer less for that stock.
Thank you for staying with us on Joy News Prime. Gary L. Smith here with the sport. And in our first story, just finished now at the Accra Sports Stadium, Hearts of Oak have won their first trophy of the season, beating Swan rivals Asante Kotoko 2-1 to win this year's President's Cup. Goals from Daniel Efriye Badie and Patrick Razak. Razak scored in virtually the last minute of the game to give the Phobians the trophy. We've got highlights for you. Anyway, earlier today, all anybody could talk about was the fact that Nigeria have released their squad for the qualifier with Ghana. I'll come to that in a bit. First of all, former journalist, now politician, engineer Kwabena Agyapong has attributed Ghana's recent struggles on over-reliance on foreign-based players. Of course, we know Ghana had a disastrous AFCON. The Black Stars are embarking on what they hope will be an image-redeeming exercise as they play the Super Eagles in 2 Crunch World Cup playoffs later this month. Kwabena Agyapong, a former management member of Asante Kotoko and also was involved with the Black Stars, is worried that locally based players have not been given enough opportunities.
This over-reliance on so-called foreign-based players who are no much better than the players we have in our country is wrong. We have to look back at home. Get the people of Ghana back again behind their national team when they see their own local players playing a major role in the national team. I think it's something that we can do. We should encourage our own, like the Nigerians are doing with the Guavon. We have a lot of players, Michael Osei. Where are they? Where are these coaches? Emmanuel Gago, Akuno was not given long enough time, and there was too much interference in his work. We have to organize them. Joseph Addo, he used to be a great player with Hearts of Oak, was in America with the MLS. He would be a good coach, for instance. There has to be a deliberate policy of allowing these guys to do their badges and be able to take over the local teams and then the national team. If we don't have a production line, we should not expect. That's why we can go back to someone who hasn't coached for 10 years and go and offer him the job to come and run the national team.
As I said, Nigeria have named their squad, and Kwabena Agyepong is hoping that we can have more locally based players. Ghana will name its squad or their squad next week, but this is what Nigeria have done. So, if you look at the lists, they have brought all the strikers who couldn't make it for the AFCON. Emmanuel Dennis of Watford is there. Ademola Lookman, who has just naturalized for the Super Eagles. He was also eligible to play for England. Kelechi Iheanacho of Leicester City. Sadiq Umar was at the AFCON. Odion Igalo, who couldn't make the AFCON but wanted to come, one of their top scorers. Victor Osimhen, the deadly Napoli player. Samuel Chukwueze, also there from the La Liga. Moses Simon, easily the best Nigerian player in the world right now. Ahmed Musa, who is in the picture there as well. And Wilfred Ndidi, Joe Aribo, Frank Onyeka, Ogenikaro Etebo. Etebo could not make the AFCON. He's in the team now. Akinwumi Amo. And then when you go to the defenders, William Ekwong, who is the stand-in captain of the team. Kenneth Omeruo. Leon Balogun, he couldn't make the AFCON. He's back. Ola Aina, Semia Jai, Calvin Bassey, Zaidu Sanusi, Shehu Abdullahi. All these guys were at the AFCON. And then the goalkeepers, Maduka Okoye, Francis Uzoho, and Daniel Akpeyi. And then they have the standby players there as well. All these guys are very, very good, and they could not even get into the main squad. Leading us to the question, should Ghana be afraid? Should the Black Stars be afraid? Should you be afraid? Nuhu Adams is an African football expert, and he is with our sister station, Insura FM in Kumasi. Hello, Nuhu. Good evening and welcome to Joy News Prime. Okay, Nuhu has dropped momentarily. We will get back to him for an analysis of Nigeria's squad as well. Moving on to more national team news. The Black Maidens will have their last training session tonight ahead of their clash with Senegal. Now, the fixture is the first leg of the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup 2022 qualifiers. The World Cup will be played in India. The head coach is Baba Nuhu, and he named a team of 22 players to face the young Teranga Lionesses. The game comes off tomorrow, Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Ghana time. Let's hear from Coach Baba Nuhu.
We're expecting that whatever that we have taken them to, when we get into the game, at least we'll start to see one of them coming to work, because this age group is actually a group that we want to develop so much. Even though we're going into competition, but then I'll be expecting to see certain things from them, because it's a long-term plan that we have for them. And so within the long-term plan, we are looking at for small things that will tell us that we are actually on course. And so my expectation is not so high, but I'm expecting to come back with at least a very respectable scoreline, because this is the start of our campaign. And I've been talking to them, I've been telling them that everybody should take their time, because this is the first time some of them I haven't seen the airport. This is the first time some of them will play. This is going to be the first time some of them will play football at the international level.
This weekend, there will be Ghana Premier League fixtures. There will also be Women's Premier League fixtures. Let's take a look at what we have in the Ghana Premier League. Of course, normally on Fridays we'll have a game, but because of the President's Cup, the Premier League fixtures match day 19 begin tomorrow. RT versus Legon City's King Faisal Adriana Stars will also be on Sunday. Dreams Elmina Sharks, Karela Ashgold, Bibiani Gold Stars versus Mediama, Accra Lions versus Great Olympics. And then on Monday there will be 11 Wonders Berekum Chelsea. Tuesday Bichem United Asante Kotoko. Wednesday Hearts of Oak versus Wafa. And in the Women's Premier League, Lady Strikers have today lost against Hazakers Ladies 3-0. The all-conquering Western Regional side have won. Other fixtures, Soccer Intellectuals versus Thunder Queens. All these are Southern Zone fixtures, mind you. Army Ladies versus Berry Ladies. Faith Ladies versus Sea Lions. Police Ladies versus Immigration Ladies. The Northern Zone, there will be Pelpia versus Ampem Dakwa. Kumasi Sports Academy versus Fabulous Ladies. Ashtown Ladies versus Supreme Ladies. Dreams Ladies versus Northern Ladies. And Prisons Ladies versus FC Sabah. Away from the football, the Greater Accra Basketball Association, GABA as they call them, has launched the 2022 season of the Accra Basketball League. Now the season will feature both male and female teams within the Greater Accra region, and there's more in this report by Michelle Aquino.
Basketball League, which is the biggest regional basketball league in the country, will be competed for at both the Division 1 and Division 2 levels. 9 male and female teams will compete in the Division 1, while Division 2 will have 20 teams. The 9 teams in Division 1 will compete in an all-play-all format, with the top 4 teams qualifying for the playoffs. Meanwhile, Division 2 will have 3 groups, 2 with 7 teams and the last with 6. The top 2 teams from each group, together with the best third-place teams, will qualify for the playoffs. The 2 finalists will automatically be promoted to Division 1. Alex Kukula, who serves as lead director for the Accra Basketball League and also doubles as vice president of the Ghana Basketball Association, Ayite Bule, chairman of the Greater Accra Basketball Association, and its vice chair, Dr. Eric Entry, together with basketball promoter Yao Sechi, were all in attendance. Bule, who chairs the GABBA, mentioned the association and the Ghana Basketball Association aim at developing the sport to a level where the country can grow into a big exporter of talents to the NBA.
Forward to basketball, where people can actually gain employment, can gain education because they play basketball. We know that they are, even in the United States and stuff like that, they are looking for potential basketball players. And if we nurture the game in this country, we'll get to the point where we'll begin to even export players into the NBA, or even the ABL will become a league that will be telecasted on DSTV and other media platforms. We are looking forward to this thing growing.
Due to a number of financial constraints, a certain percentage of medical activities were run by private individuals last year, and Bule explains what will be done differently this year.
So to be frank, nothing is in place right now. But we are writing to the police hospital, so that because they're the closest hospital to the venue. So we're writing to the police hospital that would like them to be the hospital that takes care of our players when they get injured and stuff. We are writing to the National Ambulance Service to have an ambulance on site, while we play the game. On our game days, on our match days, they have an ambulance on site to administer first aid and and if it's that bad, take them to the nearest hospital, which is the police hospital. We are looking at we're also looking at internally training each team will bring 2 reps that will take to Red Cross for first aid, to train them how to administer first aid. We have a first aid kit that we use during the games for minor injuries and stuff like that. One of the sponsors that we are looking to have are the insurance companies, so that especially the medical insurance companies, those who do medical insurance, so that we can insure the players up to a certain level as their sponsorship, as their contribution to the sport, that they have a certain amount of cover for them. So they will issue them with cards, insurance cards that gives them a certain cover for certain kinds of injuries and stuff like that. So those are things that we are still negotiating or trying to put in place.
Let's take a look at the fixtures this weekend in Europe, beginning with the Premier League. Leicester City will be playing Leeds United, Aston Villa, Southampton, Burnley, Chelsea, Newcastle, Brighton, Norwich, Brentford, Wolves, Crystal Palace, Liverpool, West Ham United. On Sunday, there's Watford, Arsenal, and then the the Manchester Derby. Monday, Spurs versus Everton. The Bundesliga tonight, Arminia Bielefeld, Augsburg. Saturday, tomorrow, Bayern versus Bayern, Bayern Munich versus Bayer Leverkusen, Hertha Berlin, Frankfurt, Leipzig, Freiburg, Bochum, Greuther Fürth, Wolfsburg, Union Berlin, Stuttgart, Mönchengladbach. And on Sunday, there's Mainz, Dortmund, Cologne, Hoffenheim. La Liga, Alaves, Sevilla tonight. Tomorrow, Osasuna, Villarreal, Espanyol, Getafe, Valencia, Granada, and Real Madrid, Real Sociedad. Sunday, Cadiz, Vallecano, Elche, Barcelona, Celta, Mallorca, Betis, Atleti. And on Monday, Bilbao versus Levante. Ligue 1 tonight, Lorient, Lyon. Tomorrow, Lens versus Brest. Nice versus PSG. Sunday, Saint-Étienne, Metz, Bordeaux, Troyes, Nantes, Montpellier, Reims, Strasbourg, Rennes versus Angers, Lille versus Clermont, and Marseille versus Monaco. So that's our presentation for today's Prime Sports. I'm Gary L. Smith. Thank you very much for your time. Tomorrow morning, George Adejudia will be on at 7 a.m. for sports review, and then at 12:15 on radio on Joy FM, Nathaniel Atto will be on for the Sports Link. Thank you for your time. I'll be back on Monday, God willing.